Good morning, Polly's Island peeps.
Good morning, good morning.
Today is Monday, July 19th, 2021, and it's time for your Polly's Island sunrise and surf report with Dave Clayton and today's special guest, Josh Bean. I can think of no one I'd rather have here on a cloudy, overcast morning than Josh, y'all. He is Mr. Upbeat, stick-to-itive young man, 24-year-old Nashville native. You're a native of Nashville or no?
Yes.
And he is also my friend and roommate at the Clayton abode. Is that what you say? You call it an abode? Is that a fancy word, Josh?
I've never heard of it, so I guess
At
it's
the
fancy.
Clayton home. How about that word?
Yeah.
So y'all, we're gonna turn this phone around so y'all can see how beautiful it is out here. Here we go. So it's 75 degrees this very minute, and there's almost no wind. After a lot of rain yesterday, some last night. Good morning, Holly. Good morning to you. Holly Cervini is my coach.
Yeah, I remember her when we moved in.
She's fantastic. Good morning, Greg Deemer. Greg Deemer says, uh-oh. Good morning. He does. He says, uh-oh. How funny. So it's 75 now. The high today is only going to be 82. We have a little cold front happening. And we have storms coming in just before noon today. So you have this morning to get some things done. But then the storms are coming back. We're going to have more. I'm going to do a little bit of, tell you a little bit about what the low tide and high tide and all that real quick. And then we'll have Josh talk some and share the good news. Hope everybody had a great weekend. I might actually hand this to you and let you share.
Cool.
So the low tide and the high tide.
So the low tide is negative 0.03 feet
Yep.
at 9:50. And the high tide is 4.66 feet at 3:25 a.m. And the next high tide is 5.7 feet at 5:23 p.m. And the next low tide is at 10:48. And that tide will be about 1.5 feet. No, wait, 0.5 feet.
Yeah, so we don't worry about this stuff too much.
Oh.
They want to know what time low tide is. Because a lot of people like to come out when it's low tide because they can find shells and then high tide too. Sometimes they don't. So we like to just look here and see low tide is in a couple hours. It's at 9:50 and then high tide's at 4:23.
I see.
So that's important stuff. And the water temperature, I believe, is 83 degrees.
82 degrees.
It is 82. Okay. It's been 83 for about a week. Maybe the rain cooled it off a little. Good morning, everybody. Debbie Cooper, good morning to you. William Page. So you can see the tide's going out, Josh. You can see it moving
Yeah.
slowly out of the creek. This is Midway Inlet. We're looking towards Litchfield.
It's pretty cool.
It is cool. And then the next thing we like to share is the waves. You can see they're...
Waves are 1 foot.
That's right, they're 1 foot. And they're about how many seconds apart?
8 seconds apart.
Okay.
Is that the wind offshore?
That is, right now there's almost none.
Yeah.
But around noon, it's going to really pick up. And we're going to have a southwester wind. And it's going to really pick up. We can hear the thunder off in the distance. And we were really expecting just clouds today, but we have some pretty cool light, don't we?
Yeah.
So, Josh, have you had a good experience so far in Pawleys this year?
Yeah. You guys are nicer than Alabama.
And tell them about Alabama. Where were you in Alabama?
I was in Birmingham.
Okay. And then why are we nicer than Alabama?
Probably because you guys get to see the sunrise and watch the beach every morning. You know, you guys are pretty chill.
Cool. So is that where you're last?
Mm-hmm.
What were you doing in Alabama? Tell people about yourself a little bit here, buddy.
So in Alabama, my internship is I go door to door selling educational stuff for families, like SATs all the way down to like babies and pregnant people. And I was doing the same thing in Alabama. So this year it's in South Carolina. So now I'm kind of more on the ocean and more in the country. I'm not a country boy, so it's been a pretty good experience.
Have you developed an immunity to kitties? Because when you first came in, you were highly allergic to kitty cats. And how many do we have like 6 cats.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say I'm immune, but I'm not as concerned.
Good.
But I don't like to hold them. I don't want to test out the waters.
And the kitties love Josh.
Yeah, they do.
They just love him.
Yeah, I just don't love them. I like them. I don't love them though.
You like them.
Yeah, I like them. I just don't love them.
You're funny, man.
It's cool how the waves, like, you can see them break right here.
Mm-hmm. So do you remember the first time you came to the beach? Do you remember that when was that for you?
The first time in my life,
Mm-hmm.
I was 21 or 22, and I wore Air Jordans. And I was like, why are there 40 pairs of shoes here on the pier? What if someone steals them? I'm like, no, I'm walking on the beach with my white Jordan 1s. And they were like, you're not doing that. I was like, what if someone steals them? I'll get you another one. I said, okay. And I walked out to the beach, and I was like, this is kind of cool. Put my foot in the water. I almost fell because the waves knocked me down. And it was a cool experience because after getting used to it, I was like, man, this is chill. It's nice. Like, I enjoyed it. It's very soothing. It's not like the city where it's like cars and honking and police sirens and interstates. It's like a solemn spirit. at all times.
So since visiting, you said you were about 18?
I was 21.
Okay.
I was 21. First time I went to the beach.
What beach was it? What was your first beach?
Orange Beach in Alabama.
Okay. But this is your second time in Pawleys, isn't it? Or is it your first time?
My first summer in Pawleys.
Okay.
I've never been to South Carolina before this summer. This is technically the third beach I've been to.
And comparing it to the other beaches you've been a part of, you say we're more friendly.
Yeah, you guys are more friendly.
And then what else?
I'd say this beach is cleaner because the other two were in the Gulf. Went to Santa Rosa and Pensacola. But this is on the ocean. So it's a little bit different, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't get a lot of gunk come up from the Gulf. It's only ocean water. I actually see seashells. Like water may be warmer. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty cool.
I grew up in Pensacola.
You did?
I did. And one of the things I love about Pawleys is this rich, organic area called the marsh.
Yeah, that's pretty.
And it smells, the smell of it is just incredible to me.
Uh-huh.
It's so organic. A lot of people you have to acquire a preference for it, but the minute we smell it, we know we're getting close to the beach, and we just love it. We roll down the windows, and we say, "Let's do it." And we the minute we smell it, we know we're close.
I could see that because the air is cleaner here. You can tell.
So what time is sunrise?
Sunrise is 6:19.
And sunset, I'm gonna guess.
Yes.
8:25.
26.
Okay. So you want to get there a minute early.
I want to get there a minute early.
So I'm seeing some neat things out here towards the mouth of the inlet. We're seeing some birds out there, but we're also seeing some fins. What time do you have now?
6:23.
All right. So we have some clouds offshore, obviously. And then we have clouds about 100 miles or so to the west of us. And we're kind of in the middle, in this area of openness. And it's just beautiful. So you ready to share some good news with us, Josh?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to turn this around like this so they can see the sunrise behind you and have you talk some.
Cool.
There you go.
All right, cool. So, yeah. So today we're talking about Acts 2:42. So you guys remember the life of a drunkard, right? So yeah, when you're at the party, you're the life of the party. You don't always remember it. You're not always trying to be it, but you're the life of the party. So that's what Peter was talking about in the sermon, because people are like, hey, what's going on, man? He's like, yo, it's only 3 a.m. Like, this is not them drinking wine till their heads can't contain it. It's the Holy Spirit. So like, and that's what Acts 2:42 was starting to go into. Because like, let me get the verse up real quick. Let me get the verse up. This is out of the New King James. But it talks about, and they continued steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine and fellowship, in the breaking of bread, and in prayers. So when I read this, I was like, they weren't just there, they were like steadfast. So when you're steadfast, that means that you're there no matter what. Like, there's no stopping you. A train can't even like get you to not be there. They were present. So when I really think about that, it was like, hey, like, they weren't like, oh, we're here, but we're kind of tired. We're going to zone out a little bit. They were hungry. They were that hungry for it. And so what's up, you guys?
Hi, how are y'all?
Good morning.
Good.
How are you?
Good.
Looking for seashells or treasures?
Turtles.
Turtles?
Turtles and picking up trash.
Nice.
Nice. So, but that's not the whole verse, because a little bit how the whole verse, how like the rest of that, I guess not, maybe chapter, I guess. But how it finishes is there were many signs and wonders that followed them. And when you're like steadfast going after it every day and you have a fire, then you're probably going to see some amazing things and you'll see fruits in your life. Rather than, I mean, having a love for God is great, but if that love isn't really on a firm foundation and doesn't really have like a fire behind it, I mean, it may be kind of inconsistent. But if you have a fire and you're going after it, you may mess up. Hey, people are going to see fruits. Like, I would want to hang out with someone who's passionate. Other things they talk about is they were always together. Now, well, they're always together, but they were together and they had things in common. And like, it's kind of like youth group, because Nashville is very multicultural, and there were some people who were the Asian Filipino Christians. There were the homeschool guys who'd never seen public school. There were the blacks and Hispanics. There were the refugees. But because superficially we were all pretty different. I can call Sean McCoy and say, yeah, homeschoolers, man, y'all are kind of different. But we all had the fire of God that we all had in common, and that all brung us together. Because superficially we were different, but we get down to the roots of like what we believe, it really just connects us and bonds us and brings us together. It talks about not being like selling all their possessions and goods and divided them among everyone because they have what they need, because we're not really, if you know God has everything you need, there's no reason to be really materialistic. Now it's okay to have nice things. It is. Like, people have beach houses out here like no other. But like, there's nothing like, when you know that God supplies your needs, then if I were to lose my beach house, God forbid that, but if I were to lose it, I wouldn't know that I'm still good. Dave, is that a fox or is that a dog?
That's a fox.
Do you guys get foxes on the beach often?
That's a fox.
Hold up now.
Good eyes, man.
Oh, and he's pooping, you guys. He's pooping. He poops like a dog.
Josh, you kill me.
Oh my gosh.
You are so funny.
You guys, you got to tune into the Sunrise Report. You'll see things you'll never see. I guarantee people in the country and Andrews don't even see this.
You are hilarious. We just caught the fox
Pooping.
Incredible.
Amen.
All right, let's slowly walk this way, my friend.
We have to move faster because we can't move too fast, but he's going to be gone.
I cannot believe you. That was remarkable. All right, little guy. Great eyes, Josh. Great eyes. So something you said stood out to me,
Yeah.
and that is how important it is to be sold out.
Yeah, you don't want to be lukewarm. We're not perfect, so there may be some days that we're really on fire, and there's some days that we are maybe kind of on fire, but we're kind of not. We're lukewarm. But like, if you have a fire for God that's consistent, people will see that, and people will see the fruit in your life.
So-
Rather than if you're lukewarm, then it may be people may say, so do you go to church or something? Like, yeah, I think I see him. I think Pastor, I don't know. Like,
So I
people
got
question it.
a question for you.
Talk to me.
What does being on fire for God look like in your life?
So, perfect love cast out all fear. So, you have a firm foundation of what God's love is. That's a totally different topic for another Sunrise report. But as well, like, love doesn't have insecurities. So, like, if I can tell that the one thing Sean McCoy, my favorite homeschool guy, maybe not favorite, but one of the guys I was talking about in youth group, it was kind of odd that he was fearless. He would like jump over like 10-foot obstacles and jump 20 feet in the air and just land on the ground. He didn't care what people thought about him. Like, he has no insecurities. So like, yeah, like, it also shows like how you, should I say this right? If you're insecure, I can't really, it's like, when you're insecure and that's how you feel about yourself, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll kind of like affect how you treat other people. When you're secure, like, you know who you are, you can treat other people better. Like, you're not afraid to be the voice, but you're also, when you can lay back. You have energy. People are going to ask, hey, like, what's different about you? Like, who do you serve? Like, people should ask questions like, hey, like, I want what you have. That's what it looks like to be on fire for God. Because people want, people who really are on fire, they definitely like want what you have. It's not really a question.
So talking about your life, tell people your testimony real quick, how you found the Lord.
So, yeah. So, we're in the South. I mean, Andrews are apparently 24 churches in a matter of like a mile and a half or 2 miles. So, like, it's bold to be like, for growing up where I grew up, like, hey, I don't believe in Jesus because, like, it's not really a thing.
In Nashville.
Yep. But the different thing is, hey, having a walk with Jesus, that's a totally different ballgame. So growing up, I remember that I always wanted more just because we were in church. But I didn't really know what that meant. So as I got older, so my dad got shot and he's paralyzed. So because of that, I was like, well, like, it was kind of like my mom and dad. Those were like my rocks spiritually. So when he's kind of like, oh, he's in the downs right now because of that. I'm like, hey, Josh, Is your faith change?
So how old were you?
I was 16 or 15.
Okay.
And at that point, I was like, whoa. He was more my rock spiritually. So I was like, whoa, Josh, this is your situation. Let's dive in. Let's get a little bit deeper.
And then your father challenged you, you said, and he asked you the question, how are you doing spiritually, you said, right?
He did. And I said, like, I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. And at that point, I think that was one of the last times he asked that question, because it's tough I would imagine it's tough to be perked up spiritually when you've been in bed for 10 years. So fast forward, I was like, I started to surround myself with people who wanted more. So literally, like right now, I can say that I can call John Boss, Camden Greco, Sean McCoy, and probably Charlie Thomas. I just met him this year. And talk about, hey, the goodness of the Lord. I believe in the supernatural. And that right there, example of your fruit, your faith, but also your obedience. Because sometimes, I feel like that's a different topic.
No,
supernatural.
you roll with it.
I roll with it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I feel like, I believe that your heart may not be in the best place to like see signs and wonders, but if you go out in belief, in total belief that God can do it, don't be surprised if it happens, because that's what faith is, when you have total belief in God, in Jesus, and your circumstances. No matter where your heart is, no matter how holy you're feeling that day, or how spiritually yoked up you're feeling. And because I had a desire to want more, it showed in my walk and my fruit. And people, I'll never forget, like my friend group is kind of different. My white friends are kind of like, you're cool. White friends are kind of like, oh yeah, you're cool. Like, don't know how. Josh Bean is Josh Bean. So, but when they ask, like, what is it about you? It's like more like who I serve. It's nothing really about Josh Bean. I just serve an awesome God. And some people like it, and some people don't. It's like when I go knock on doors. Some people love books. Some people don't. Or some people just don't like me knocking on my door. Mm-hmm. But like, if they knew what I had, like what I had in my backpack, and what I'm doing and my why towards doing it, and then they knew who I serve, and then like they know that I'm the baddest man that they're gonna talk to all day. So
you just mentioned something very powerful, your why.
Yeah.
We talked about that last time you joined us.
That's a correlation.
Yeah, that's great how you connected that, Josh.
Yeah.
Or how God connected that for us. Mm-hmm. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So tell people a little bit about your why again, that maybe didn't tune in the first time you joined us. Tell people a little bit about your why. You've been talking about it, but when we went to Biscuit together, you and I, a couple months ago, you told me, I said, you kept talking about this why, and I asked you to tell me exactly what it was, and you said your why was that everyone you spoke to, no matter what, no matter how they acted towards you, no matter how whatever, was going to see Jesus, experience Jesus with every single one of your your relationships. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So I knock on probably 100 doors, maybe 200 doors a day with my internship. And there's some doors that are better experiences than others. But in my head, I was like, hey, are you giving your 100% at each door? And if I am, I know that they will see Jesus. So that's my goal. At every door, I give them my 100% best. and they will see Jesus, and they will see love. They will see someone who doesn't judge. I may be in Alabama. I walked up on people like getting in fist fights, and I walk in, and they walk out, and everything is like calm. It's kind of ironic how that is, because like it's like when you see Jesus in front of you, you're probably like, you start to chill out. It's like when everything's rowdy and grandma comes home from church and no one wants to act a fool in front of grandma. So it's kind of like the same concept in my eyes a little bit. And then after when I left, they went back to fighting. But like literally, like I want that. It's like when I come in, it's like a peace or like a refreshing, like a refreshment. Because that's what God is. He's peace. He's just a breath of fresh ocean air. Like,
Sure.
Like he's someone that you're like, man, I'm glad I got to experience him. Because he's that mighty and that majestic and everything.
That's great, man.
Yeah, but that's part of my why. Because I ain't come out here to sell books. Came out here to make an impact, grow in my character, because the same habits I'm forming now will be the same habits that will help me have a good life in my job, in my sports, in my hobbies, in my relationship with my wife and kids, and to be a better family member, because that's what this is all about.
Josh does not have kids or a family or a wife right now. So
Yeah.
he's talking about in the future how the foundation, what he's doing now, how that's going to affect him in the future. And that's just beautiful, man. That's just beautiful that you are intentionally investing in that in your everyday life. So I just thank you for sharing with us. And I believe you've impacted a lot of people this morning that have joined us. I also believe people that are going to tune into this are going to be impacted in a major way. And it is time for us to say goodbye. It's time for us to sign out. And now for the moment of truth. The question I have for you, Josh, is do you remember how we sign out here on the Pawleys Island award-winning Sunrise and Surf Report? Do you happen to remember?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have an idea.
Okay, let's do it.
May the Lord bless you. May God bless you. May he keep you. May he lead you to make the good decisions today and tomorrow.
Yes.
Something like that.
You rock. I like that better than,
Yeah.
That's better than what we normally say.
Yeah.
You said it perfectly.
I was along the lines.
That is perfect, my man.
I wasn't far off, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Y'all, I hope you got as much out of time with Josh this morning as I have. And we have really had fun out here. And I know I have grown. You are a 24-year-old firecracker. You really have incredible energy. If you get a chance, when you leave in August, I know that, right?
Yeah.
So you need to somehow find a way. He's staying with us in Hagley. Somehow find a way to spend time with Josh before he leaves in August. He is you are a special young man, and we are blessed to have you in our home, and you're part of our family forever, my friend. It's time for you to get to work. That's what that sound is. Your alarm's going off.
Yeah.
All right, we're signing out. Thanks so much, Josh.
Thank you. Thank you.